promises are made.
Thanks for joining us again at the Heritage-Hangar. It's a little bit of a recap what we've done this weekend. It's not too much, but it's still progress. So I'll show you now. One being, as we have the tyre inflated and installed, looking as good as ever. We've taken off the cover, the cam covers for the push rods. We've also taken off the inlet manifold, as you can see there. Fans come off as well. It's got an eccentric, the fan's eccentric, so obviously this needs to be taken off and lubed really. But yeah, you spin that around off of that bolt and that gives you that tightens and slackens the fan belt. There's our beautiful inlet manifold, which is in pretty good condition to be fair. Didn't have a gasket on it, which is a bit concerning. We had to chisel this nut off because it's too far gone, and obviously it was a retainer for the bleed off for the injectors, so we've taken that one off. These have got to be cracked off because they're, again, they're too far gone. The same with that one there, but the studs are in good use, so we will cut some gaskets out for that, refit it, make some new gaskets for that one, get some new nuts all around, and this is going to be polished to a high degree, which obviously I can't wait because it'll come up lovely. And now that it's off, I mean, this isn't too bad on that side. This is a bit offset, but I might try and do it again. We're not too sure yet. It's only, like I say, a temporary fix this end. This one's permanent, but it's not perfect. This side is, because we couldn't get access to it, but the other side's not. But I guess it's close enough. It's close enough, look. You can't really tell. It's just my OCD kicking in on that, in that regards. So yeah, this is all going to be stripped down, and that is going to be polished now. Obviously on the original it wouldn't have been polished, it would have been left in its cast form. But you know, the engine block, we've done a tester area on there and paint, which is actually quite nice. Obviously our start motor's still in, which is she's looking good. But so yeah, we're going to polish the inlet manifold up, get a new leak off. I think this is a leak off for the, well, it might be all pressure, but a nice leak off for the injectors. So we're going to, because it's going to be undercover, it's going to be under the bonnet, you know, it's not something that you're going to see to go, oh, that's not period correct. So we're going to tart the engine up, basically, is what I'm getting at. It'll be original semi-gloss black, which it should have been, it would have been before it had its duck egg coating for the refurb, which we've got evidence of here and here, which they done in the 70s, I believe, and they done recons. They used to paint it all duck egg. Again, it's easier to spot for any leaks. But we're going back to the original gloss black, semi-gloss black, because that's what it should have been and would have been. But yeah, we're going to just make it pretty. So anything that's alley, we're going to polish. Same as this cover here. I'll take this off, and we're going to polish that up so it sits against the black. It just looks aesthetically pleasing, and I think it deserves it, considering it's still here. This side of things, we have got our new fuel hand prime lifter in place. Very disappointed by the supplier, Stationary Engines UK, advertised as made out of bronze or brass with a bronze top. This just came in out of a mould steel, pitted, rusted, and it's brand new from a box. But that's on, it's a lot easier than the original hand pump, and we've got a new filter bowl and adapter. After looking at this, the original's made of brass, so we're going to try and retrofit the original brass back on here with the glass bowl, because the other one's solid, and use this springed cage, as you can call it, and put it and retrofit it to the original filler casing. Obviously exhaust studs are off and out. These are absolutely knackered. Got a new set. This has been taken away. So this is for our downpipe that sits there. We have got the materials ready to make and replicate the original exhaust pipe, and again hopefully it stops all this burnt carbon up off the engine while we're trying to clean it, and having to make us double handle and keep painting it, and not painting it, sorry, but keep washing it down before we can paint it. So this is getting sent off. I mean, there is reminiscence of the existing stub there, and someone's welded this collar on it, but I mean, I'm self-taught welder, and I mean that again is pretty, it's like pigeon shit, excuse my French. All pressure pickup is there. I've tried to straighten it today, but it was that far gone and kinked. It's decided to snap in two. I'm going to get a new line for that. Cav pump's going to be coming off next weekend because we know the engine fires. That's the main thing we want to test. So now that we know it's fires, we're going to take the cav pump off. We've got a supplier that can recon this, and I think it's going to cost us around about £150. They're not going to play with the governor, they're just going to recon the internals. So we're going to get that sent off, get the vacuum pump taken off, then that gives us access behind here, and we can degrease this next weekend and start painting the block in situ rather than stripping it out, because the idea is we're going to work from the front of the Thorny all the way up to the cab. So we're going to restore it in segments until we get to the back of the cab, get this all restored, get everything in here done, get a new cab on it, and then we can start worrying about doing the beautiful, you know, the beautiful crane and getting it up and running. So it's going to be front section first, new springs, etc., and we're just going to work our way in segments all the way through back. Along as doing this, we've got the Bedford OXD to continue with, which we've got to do a seam weld on the chassis, and then we can start actually putting that back together, because there's not a lot left for that really. Again, it's more cab related, mechanical wise it's all complete in there. And then obviously we've got our air compressor trolley set, which we're going to be grinding out some rot on, welding the insert back up, and basically start retrofitting it all back together. But yeah, just a little update, not too much really. I'm just about to start doing the gaskets, so I'll show you an update of that in a minute. But this is the original gasket. I think, oh, it is a cork gasket. It looks more like rubber, but it is a genuine cork gasket. But this is going to be our template. It's the only one that came off in any good, you know, in a reasonable condition. The rest of them are snapped and, you know, not very pretty. So yeah, we're gonna get that done now, and I'll show you the update in a second. Okay, so what we've done and completed so far, we have, obviously you can see, taken off the inlet manifold. Push rod covers are clear. We've degreased it even more, so there's a hell of a lot of grease on this pulley. It's gone. Same as around the front. We've still got a little bit more to do. That's where the aid of brake cleaner comes in. We've now managed to get the exhaust off. Main exhaust manifold there. Outlet for the return pipe from the top of the head for the water, and the inlet pipe as well for the main block and cylinder. This pipe is completely knackered. We will save it, hopefully. Same here. So that's the drain valve, polished up, it's brass inlet. We've also got the cav pump off. We put a reference mark on it. There's a reference mark on there, there they are. So you can see it just there and there. So we know where roughly it's going to be when we put it back on without having to time it up. This is going to be sent off and get fully reconned, and take the clamp off as well, get that painted and ready. And then moving over to the side of the engine, we are just in the process of taking off the vacuum pump. This is all now loose, as you can see. So that is ready to come off. The block's coming up really lovely. A bit of rust coming out of there. We've snipped that oil pressure pipe off because again it's not needed at the minute. Yeah, and we're nearly ready to start painting the block, because the idea is, like I stated before, we're going to leave the engine in the chassis. The chassis, it's got some pitting, but it's in pretty good condition, to be fair. There's quite a lot of meat left on it, so we're just going to flat this all off and leave it as it is. But we're going to leave the engine in it, get it running, get it moving, and then we'll start from the front of the nose cowling back. We'll start, restoring segment by segment as we go. Take a bolt out, replace a bolt, etc. Because we haven't got the facilities at the minute where we've got an overhead gantry crane or anything to be able to rip everything out, or an access to a HIAB, etc. It'd be nice when this is working, but we could have used this. But yeah, at the minute we've got to make do with what we've got and the means that we've got. But some surprising more evidence has unfolded today as we've been degreasing yet again. Absolutely love it. There is signs of blue-grey on the block as well as the gearbox. Now, like we stated earlier, we're going to tart this up a bit, should we say. So anything that's alley we're going to polish, bronze we're going to polish, brass we're going to polish, copper, etc. We're going to make this engine quite presentable and pretty, because she is quite rare, and the fact that this is painted in blue-grey is even rarer, in the sense that, if our knowledge is correct, blue-grey was used at the start of World War II and the Battle of Britain. It was a colour that was tupied over from the police. The police went to black and white schemes, and obviously there's a massive surplus of blue-grey. So the RAF then, they tupied over and accepted the colour of blue-grey pre-1940. And it wasn't until the mid part of the Battle of Britain that they started, in the War Department issued home front vehicles, and vehicles on bases, etc. on the home front, or basically in British soil, now have to go to the camo scheme, khaki green with the satin gloss, or matte gloss black, and then again some vehicles got converted to that colour because obviously supplies were getting low. I believe Britain completely run out of green paint pigments, or green pigments to make green paint, the khaki green, and then it wasn't technically up and functional again until the Americans joined us, and they started sending supplies, one of them being paint, which then from that period forwards everything was painted in the correct schemes and khaki green. So the fact that this has got blue-grey on the block, and the fact it's got blue-grey on the gearbox, means this is a very, very, very early Coles EMA Amazon Thornycroft. And the rarest thing as well is about it being diesel. Now, it wouldn't have been diesel if it was sent overseas or sent to Europe, but our understanding now is coming along the lines of, the reason this one is diesel and it's in these schemes is clearly because it's on home turf or soil. Diesel was available easier in Britain than it would have been if it was out in Europe. So this old girl's revealing some very secret piece of past. We're in two minds now. Me being a patriot with OCD and an eye for detail, I'd like this to be completely as original as we possibly can. So my heart's telling me to go blue-grey on the block, the same as the gearbox will be and the rest of the unit. But then my head's telling me semi-gloss black, because one, we've got it in stock at the minute. Two, most military vehicles, whether it's Air Ministry, RF Air Ministry or War Department, most vehicles at that period of time, the blocks were painted black. But again, we want to keep it correct and original. But the other difference is like I say, all the brass fittings, the copper lines, these are going to be remade out of stainless. We was going to use copper, but stainless is more durable, hard wearing, and it'll last a hell of a lot longer. It'll be alive till the day that I'm gone. But by having them colour schemes, and for instance this polished, you know, with the starter, and the inlet manifold is going to be polished as well. It will just give it that wow factor, which, you know, it wouldn't have been correct, I guess, in a day, in the sense of stuff being polished. But, you know, we're not in 1940 at the minute. As much as we replicate and we're trying to be as accurate as we can with our equipment and our vehicles and our aircraft, you know, things that have lasted this long and this amount of time, and not only that still run, they deserve a bit of looking after. They deserve to be spoilt, should we say. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to spoil this old girl. But again, leave us your views in the comments, what you would prefer to see it done as, i.e. the engine block colour scheme, and we'll go from there.